Just hate hiding all the time. Feeling like everybody's whispering about me.
Is that her? My mama says her whole family are Satanists.
Well, after you declare, Leon, I've always depended on the kindness of witchcraft.
Nah, I'm just a simple.
I never knew you were going to do that.
That's his fallback Southern personality.
Now look here, I'm just a simple. You sound like a lawyer foghorn leghorn.
Your Honor.
It's amazing how everybody walked out of this movie wearing suspenders.
And gained about 20 pounds.
Well, now let me see here.
I gotta say though, I generally like these two Utes in this film.
I do too, man. I was actually taken in by the Southern charm of this movie at the beginning, and then it kind of wore out on me after a while. I am turning Southern, and it just kind of wore after me after a while. I mean,
You didn't want them to stick with their accents?
No, it's not that.
I don't know about any of that, but I kind of want some lemonade.
I was hoping for a mint julep.
A mint julep, yeah. It's a little like the actual mint leaf hanging out the side.
Just to give it a little sweet.
Yeah, those were the days, boy. When Leon was on, Leon, you and I, Cyrus was sitting on the porch with Brian, and they were fanning themselves in their rocking chairs. You and I out there in the field picking cotton.
Yeah, that's why I got mad watching Django Unchained. I was like, hey, ain't nobody ever come here and shoot up these guys for me.
Corey, you're right. Those were the days.
This is the part where Brian sits quietly in the corner.
No, Brian, what can I get something for you, sir?
I want no part of this joke.
Are you sure?
and now Corey's the boss.
I know.
Must be like the end of Planet of the Apes for you guys.
It's a little frightening. You monsters! You blew it up!
Brian, you damn dirty hunky.
That statue is just Corey with his middle finger in the air.
Brian, can I give my reviews for you, sir?
Oh, please.
See, okay. And listen, I like this movie halfway through. This is a film that people just automatically want to say, oh, no.
It's the latest Twilight.
Yeah, and I can't blame anybody for that. But here, I think that your characters are a lot more likable, and they have a hell of a lot more personality than any of the characters did through it.
Way more. Matter of fact, watching something like this, I go like, this is what's wrong with Twilight. It's not that it's vampires and werewolves. It's not that they're young people. It's that it's just so half-assed. They don't really try to develop these characters to make them any more than surface. And you don't believe in their relationship. We're supposed with This Beautiful Creatures, which is also based on a popular, YA book series. I really felt like I knew everybody, and some great performances, especially from this lead actor who I'd never seen before.
Yeah, it's a guy named Aldrin Ehrenreich.
Is it Alden?
Alden we'll go with that. Alden.
Sound it out.
Ehrenreich. Yeah. But in the movie, he plays high school student. He's about 17. Can't wait to get out this small southern town where they actually burn books.
Yeah. He's like the one guy in this southern town who reads.
Yeah.
And there are towns like that in America today. A lot of them.
Yeah, you escaped from one of them, right?
He's kind of. He's one of those. He's that guy. Like we see him right from the beginning, reading Kurt Vonnegut and being interested in the books a lot of us grew up with. But for him, he's like the one person. Like people are going up to him like in the old Bill Hicks routine. What you reading for? Oh, that book's no good. You don't want to try the Bible.
You think you better than me?
Yeah,
it's one of those times when you go there, you have to set your watch back 20 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so backwoods. I expected to hear banjos every time people walked through it.
Yeah, he's a step above all the people in this town. This boy's got ambition, except he might be a little crazy because he keeps having these dreams about this girl out in the field wearing a dark robe or something.
Every night I dream about the same girl.
He's not.
And apparently she plays football for West Canaan High.
And I just ran and didn't stop. But it turns out that maybe he's not so crazy. There's a girl comes into town. She looks just like the girl in his dreams. Just so happens, the only thing that's going to fuck it up, everybody thinks this girl is a Satanist, a devil worshiper. Immediately she starts garnering the negative attention of everyone in town.
Especially the mean girls.
Especially the girl that likes him.
Yeah.
And the girl is played by Alice Engelhart. She plays Lena. And she, and people might not be too far off. Weird things start happening when she comes to town. Lightning starts striking in the same place. And in class, when people piss her off, windows just all of a sudden just burst out of nowhere.
Oh, did I do that?
And it doesn't help. Hey, look, this guy said, I don't give a shit. She's fine.
She ain't none of you dumb bitches.
If she does want to shit the devil made that ass fine as hell.
I'm sorry, but Carrie is smoking hot.
Yeah. And
It's like, ain't any you dumb motherfucker seen Harry Potter? Not all magic comes from the devil, okay? Let's relax.
And that is true. She is magical, but it does not come from the devil. Turns out she's something called a caster. Bullshit. She's a witch. You know, I don't care what this big.
Well, she even says, well, witch is kind of derogatory.
Sanitation
but yes.
engineer my ass. You're a garbage man.
Yeah. Vampires glitter, and you are a caster, not a witch. Whatever. But he's cool with that too. He's like, okay, babe, so what? You cast spells.
I'm sure he grew up watching Bewitched. He's like, hey, I know how this works.
I dream of genie all day. He's like, if nothing else, the sex is gonna be exciting. But there's getting to be a point where she says, I might be turned to a dark side, and if that's the case, it's going to put your life in danger, and I don't know if this relationship's going to work. This guy who plays Ethan,
that whole thing with the dark side thing too cracks me up because like she starts off early on by talking about fucking Christians and normal people, you fucking muggles, y'all like think everything is good and evil, everything bad came from Satan. Well, by the way, we have exactly the same thing.
yeah.
I also love the not so veiled metaphor about when this 15-year-old girl turns 16, suddenly she's going to be out of control and really bitchy, and it's like, okay.
Maybe this is a large misunderstanding of what happens when the blood flows.
Yeah,
Blood will be spilled.
but I like this kid, this actor, Alden, Iron,
Alden Erickson,
whatever the hell.
The actor that gives us all a stroke, apparently trying to say his name.
Alden Third Reichenstein, whatever shit.
Oh, he was a member of Funkadelic.
Or Hitler Youth. I don't know. But I like this kid. Now, I'm going to say that I think he's overacting a little bit, but to his credit, because when he first comes on screen, he's almost an inch away from Gomer Pyle. I mean, everything is, golly, I can't wait to leave this town.
Yeah,
exactly. But
which is what the witches actually say.
But it's to his credit. I like him. He makes that character likable. The way he acts is someone who would do a Southern accent on a stage play. I think he's overdoing a little bit, but I do enjoy watching him. The girl that plays the caster, I like her mainly because, as you said, Leon, their relationship. It's movie romance, but I buy it for these two characters.
Well, they work it. They put something into it. And as for him, I got that same Gomer Pyle vibe at first, but then after a while, it's like, you know what? He's this character. He's a little larger than life, but he works it. He stays consistent with it. He finds new ways to play it. He keeps it interesting the entire time. But also, what rounds it out was that originally, seeing the trailer, my first thought was like,
excuse me, Leon, are we boring you, Brian?
I'm looking up information on this movie.
I know, man. Man, come on. He's on his phone looking up stuff. I know what you're doing, man.
Excuse me for fact checking.
Brian, you can get that back at the review. Come here.
God damn it.
Come on, give it here. I'm sorry.
As much as I rolled my eyes watching the trailer for it, the thing I was like, oh man, this is what Jeremy Irons has to do these days. This is one of the greatest actors of all time. It's like, wait, Emma Thompson is in this, and Viola Davis, and having them in this movie really is what fleshed it out for me. Made me go like, wow, there's so many great things that are going on. Just them giving their good performances, and this new kid. I mean, as far as the girl, I thought she was okay. She did all right, but I thought just about everybody else was kind of outshining her. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. They really made this work for me to where I was like, wow, I'm enjoying this so much more than I expected, and I'm laughing a lot. It's clever in points. And it was a big surprise.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I mean, I think I went in as arms crossed, like, here we go, as anybody else. I mean, because with their marketing, clearly, like, somebody and product placement was like, look, we've got Twilight elements, we've got Harry Potter elements. This is like the magic film. This is the one that's going to bring both fandoms together in one big, smushy, nerdy embrace.
One giant cash jacuzzi.
Exactly. And it does have elements of both, but in no way that I feel is going to irritate you unless you just plain want to be irritated going into it. I mean, like, it's funny, you talk about the accents, and that was the thing for a while. It took me a while to get over till I finally went, wait, I've been to Georgia. They really do talk like that in certain places in the smaller areas, and you're like, it was just as weird then. It's like, will you guys cut that shit out? Everybody talk normal? What is this? This is some big joke on us. Like, the Yankee, let's all talk look like a bunch of hicks.
What about you, Mister?
Like you get them all to relax and go like, oh, whew,
But the thing
I
is
was getting tired.
The main character brings so much energy to this role, and he's not just has that accent like everybody else does, but he's also kind of a dork.
Yeah.
And at first you're a little, he's got the Gomer Pyle-ishness because of the accent on top of that. But as it goes along, you forget about the accent, and you just start to really get into him as a person. He's pretty well defined. He's interesting. He's just so darn likable that it's a shame the female actress he's working with seems to not really have much likable about her. I mean, she just glowers at him constantly, and even once they're together, she's just kind of like, let's get on with this. It's just, there's nothing, I couldn't figure out what he saw in her, quite
that she
frankly.
wasn't one of the dumb bitches in his town.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's about
Well, you got to
it.
keep in mind he was dreaming about her too.
Yeah.
And she was sort of a dream
Stupid
come
destiny.
true. Yeah. Dumb. Hey, little fact check over there. What about you? Looking up all those facts. What
I
you got to
enjoyed
say?
all of the accurate things that you've said about this. I went into this movie wanting to hate it because the trailers did sell it so much as just the next Twilight, and it slowly but very surely won me over through the performances. And once again, it's if we don't buy that relationship, this entire movie falls apart because it's not just about them getting together, but it's about earning those emotional beats and genuine sacrifices. And, you know, there are things that happen in this movie that if we didn't buy their relationship, we wouldn't buy half the things that happen at that point. And I thought they did a really great job of selling that. And the lead actress may only be okay, but she is still Sir Laurence Olivier next to Kristen Stewart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very true.
And, you know, that girl, I wonder if they cast her because she looks like Rooney Mara.
She does kind of look like Rooney Mara.
You know, they cast people, you know what I'm saying? They cast people, you know, we need the next girl with the dragon tattoo.
Well, I think that's always kind of happened in film. We're just now becoming the point we're jaded enough, we're hyper aware of it. And we were just talking about that in Warm Bodies. How the lead female in there looks so much like Kristen Stewart. You're like, oh, come on, that was not
Jessica
an accident.
Chastain and Mama. It's like they got the same stylist as
Yeah.
that girl with the dragon
Well,
tattoo.
even this lead guy we keep talking about. What's his name again? Oh,
Man, don't do that to me.
but
Frankenstein.
But he constantly reminded me of Leonardo DiCaprio, just with darker hair.
funny 'cause
Combined with Emil Hirsch.
Yeah, exactly.
We all see something different because he looked like Carl Urban to me with a skinny body and a big head.
So Carl Urban. So he just looked like Carl Urban.
He looked like a really thin, fat Albert, but white.
He was like the Blumenschan's version of Carl Urban. If Carl Urban was a Mardi Gras float, that would be him.
He looked like Chris Tucker, but with lighter skin and
Completely different facial structure.
He looked like Dick York, but sounded like Dick Sargent. It was really...
You know what I actually thought he was? I thought, and I'm not making up anything here. I thought he was that kid from I want to say Chronic, but Chronicle, is that what it was?
Dane DeHaan. Like I said, another Leonardo DiCaprio clone.
I thought that was him. I thought, because I kept saying, this guy looks like everybody.
They keep trying to get the formula right. It's like with the super soldier thing. There's always something slightly
They got
off.
DiCaprio. And like, we can make another one of these if the scientists hadn't got
Damn
shot.
it, this one has brown hair. Go again.
For anyone still listening, we're talking about beautiful creatures.
Yeah.
I feel like we get further and further.
No, we're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio. No. Anyway,
So the
Leonardo
beach.
DiCaprio. Yes.
He's just so pretty.
Wasn't it a shame how he got robbed in Django Unchained?
Wait, Dane DeHaan or
Dick Sargent.
Heinrich.
This kid, like I said, I think that he's going to. I want to see him in something else.
Yes.
Because I want to see what his acting range is besides this. Because looking at him here, this is the first time I really noticed him, and doing that accent, I see him as that character now. I want to see him do something else.
I'm hoping he's not another Lucas Black where you go like, oh, that kid was so great in Sling Blade. and then you realize like everything, he's like, oh, he really talks like that.
That's his
Matter of
real
fact,
accent.
he can't stop talking like that.
Yeah. It's going to be the next Terminator movie. Oh, golly, Terminators are coming.
Still acts and everything like he's the kid from Sling Blade.
The Schwarzeneggers are coming.
Be real careful how you say that word, kid.
But
Especially in the South.
see, I'm with you guys on that. What I liked about this is that they did not focus. The movie will mislead you into thinking that this is going to be this romance that you're going to follow through most of the film for these two young characters. But there's a lot of exchange between actors like Emma Watson and
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson. I know I'm gonna fuck up. Leave me alone, man. You know I ain't good with names.
Picture Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
But it's Emma Watson.
Now, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio kind of looks like Emma Watson, which makes me think of this film right here.
You know what? That kid can play anybody. So
He could.
Would any of us be surprised if it turned out all these people were just Leonardo DiCaprio?
I just figured it's all Philip Seymour Hoffman at this point.
Viola Davis was Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's true. But
Jeremy Irons and Emma
Thompson.
you've got Wikipedia open right in front of
Do
you.
you want me to pull mine up too? Is that okay?
Okay. Hey, yeah, you're checking the phone over there, man. Why you not help me out over here?
Oh, suddenly everybody wants to fact check.
You know what you're doing? You're looking at me drowning right now. You're just holding that life preserver, just laughing at me. Oh,
I'm good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got this in my hand.
Did you want this? Because I don't really need it. but-
Is there an alternate version of Wikipedia that just has the phonetic pronunciations of everything in it?
Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Not really. What are we talking about?
There's a lot of. Why do they have our name so low on the list? I can look it up if I have to search for it. No, there's a lot of interaction between some of the adult actors that I like. Every time Jeremy Irons and Emma Thompson got together in a scene, because what I don't want to do any spoilers here, but Emma Thompson plays one of the most highly conservative,
Pious.
the loudest, the pretty much the voice of that community, and she's leading the charge against anybody that goes against the Bible or their way of life.
Mrs. Lincoln.
How dare you enter the house of the Lord?
Since my family owned the land it's built on, and I understood this to be an occasion for all members of the community. Now, I'm sure you'll have better things to do on such a beautiful day, so I'll be brief. The accusations against my niece are all spurious lies. For according to the Weather Channel, and you can verify this on Google, there were unseasonably strong gusts from the east which caused untold destruction up and down the South Carolina coast. So, my niece will go back to the institution that Gatlin presumes to call educational, and she will be persecuted no longer.
And this girl is the niece of Jeremy Irons. And he comes in and just tells the whole church, you know what? I got secrets on all you motherfuckers in here.
And I own this town. Somebody get out of line.
Kindly get in line to kiss my ass.
Yeah.
I thought, like, for me, the movie elevated at that point because, giving him so much to do. In that scene, I thought he did equally what Tommy Lee Jones did in Lincoln. I was like, wow, this is just like that.
Yeah. No, whenever him and Emma Thompson get together and they have their little spats, those are actually bright spots of brilliance in the film. What I didn't like about the movie is that after that scene, after they set up some of these great adult characters, I thought the story just kind of went in so many directions that it became a mediocre film where it
got weighed down by its own plot threads going all over the place, and the nature of this weird Wiccanism magic world they have is so bizarrely specific in so many ways at points. I was like, really?
It's so specific it can't help breaking its own rules. Like it gets to the point where its mythology gets really shaky.
It gets pretty convoluted in that way, and it's a shame because it starts off sort of arguing itself as being more simple and sensible than everybody else's way of doing things. And then after a while, you're like, well, there's no wonder everybody wants to kick your ass. Every time you start explaining your shit, they get a headache. I don't know. I mean, it was still more interesting than a lot of other films that have tried this sort of thing in the past, that have tried to get onto the Harry Potter money train or the Twilight money train with their own little weird supernatural.
Weird how nobody's trying to get on the money train.
Yeah, well, that's not weird actually. That's the thing is, you're right, Corey. It just kind of by the end, you're like, okay, at least I'm kind of interested now in what happens in their relationship, because if I wasn't, then I would have lost interest in all the magic stuff that was holding the movie together in the first.
Who was the actress that played
Emmy Rossum?
Okay, so the one that played the Darkcaster that came in. You know what I'm talking about?
The cousin.
The cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cousin. And it happens when she comes in. There's a part of the movie where they have one of the casters who did go dark. It's the cousin, the hot cousin that comes into town, and she can
Super hot.
Damn, she was hot.
Good
I concur.
God.
Yeah, give him a towel.
It's funny because they make it seem like her witchcraft was controlling man. No, that ass was controlling man. It was don't need no magic for that.
I'm sorry, but like there's a point with a woman like that. Like the only thing to make her hotter is if it turns out she's evil, and then you're like, I don't know, it's a man fault that you're like, oh, now I gotta fuck it.
Abracadabra.
Maybe her character had a bigger role in the book that kind of tied things together, but when her character was introduced in the movie, it kind of cut everything apart. And the movie kind of stops where it was focused on all these characters. It kind of stops to showcase big set pieces. Oh, we're going to have this fight at the table where it's going to
It literally stops and spins the movie.
And
the movie is spinning its wheels, literally.
And it really feels out of it's a part of the story, but it really feels out of place because it feels like the movie's saying, oh yeah, we have to throw some sort of special effects in here to keep you interested.
I thought they were just saying this is what that Haunted Mansion movie was supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, I mean, it was considering the fact this film seemed clearly to have a pretty small budget, and what they did have, they spent on the F5 tornado towards the end. Which is like, why is there a tornado here? I don't know. No, I'm still not clear on that. But like, that was inventive use of money because it was like, okay, why is this happening? But at the same time, it did look cool. The set design inside the house was really neat. And it was one of those moments they're like, okay, we don't have a lot to work with here, but this we can do and make it look kind of neat. And but by realizing that, going like, yes, there's a budgetary constraint, but that was a creative thing to do with your money. I appreciated it, I think, to some degree on that level.
And it's not that I didn't appreciate it. I just felt it brought too much attention on itself. I don't know, but that's just me. I tell you what I did like. I love Jeremy Irons' Liberace suits.
I know, man. I love that too.
There was
the first time I was just like, I wish my brother George
Well,
was here.
he looked like Liberace if he was in the second Matrix film, because he had like the suits, but they were trench coat suits.
Yeah.
And if Liberace lived in a Calvin Klein ad from the late 80s.
Yeah. Because if you ask me, and this is not going for an easy joke, Jeremy Irons played that Southern gay. Now, you can say what you want to about gay people. There ain't nothing like Southern gay, because the inflection in your tone of talking is like that. I mean, it seems to always gay people who have that Southern gay. They seem to be on top of you. Maybe that's the wrong choice of word. They seem to always be one step ahead of you.
There's something about intellectual people with when you're really smart to the point you have a college education with clip tones and a Georgia accent on top of it. Yeah, you sound gay.
It's
There's
charming.
You
could be the biggest homophobe, but if you get around
dandy, which sounds gay, but it's not.
But if you get around Southern gay,
when it comes to the Southern accents, there's only two ways to go. It's either gayish or redneck. There's nothing in between.
But Southern gay, you could be a homophobe and come to a gay person's home, and you might be ready to hate them, but they come in and they'll tell you, "Well, come on in, son, have a seat. Can I get something for you? You look parched right now." And you thinking, yes, I guess. Can I get you some cold water or some dick, perhaps? And you would think about it, I think I'll have some. Oh, wait a minute. But Jeremy Irons,
I almost went for number two.
Oh, I'm gonna put some cucumber in my dick. You're gonna like
Jeremy Irons, he played it like that.
Are you sure you were masturbating about Emmy Rossum?
Yeah. Okay, you got me. Well, I do declare, your Southern charm.
Jeremy gave you iron, didn't he?
But he's sort of a twofer.
But when he came in, it was that kind of interaction was cool too. Lena, who was your friend right here? Do tell him to come in and have a seat. You know what I mean? Hey, I like this guy, man.
He has a cool house right off the bat, so you're like, fuck yeah, I'll come and take a seat. The only people I know's houses don't look like they're from the 1870s.
Had that big spiral staircase.
Yeah.
And he came in, and when you thinking he looks like Liberace, he gets on the piano like Liberace. Lena, you won't play a tune for us? What, do you mind if I tickle the ivories myself?
Across the ivories.
Yeah, the ivories. Yeah, not ivories, but ivories.
I didn't know how many syllables there were in that word. That's incredible.
I tell you, I really do appreciate this movie, probably more than my rating gives, because the thing that really took it down a notch for me is just how anticlimactic the climax was. And again, I would have to spoil it to tell you about it, but it all centers on an important death, a big loss, And
Oh, well, fuck. That ruins it now.
oh, well, people, I just ruined the movie for you, so fuck it. Fuck this movie, some old bullshit. No, for as great as as it started out, I just thought that it would have led to something bigger. And maybe that's why that scene in the middle of the movie bothered me, because it's a huge set piece. That felt like more of a climax than what we actually got at the end of the movie. At least for me, it did. And when I walked away, I just walked away saying that, like, I love how it ended on a sweet note, but it really didn't feel like it delivered for me. It felt mediocre at the end. I'm giving this a rental, but it's a good rental. It's
okay.
A high rental. Go ahead and say it.
A high rental.
Thank you. Stop fighting it.
How high do you have to be to rent it? I'm confused.
Oh, okay. I expected you to give it. Okay. Well,
I
whatever.
don't know what you expect me to give it.
I expect you to give it a matinee from everything you were saying, because you had mostly glowing things to say.
How about this, Leon? I give the first half a matinee. I give the second half.
Whatever. Give it a run. Who gives a shit?
Speaking of shaky mythology.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. And while I don't discount that, the middle affected you the way it did, for me, it wasn't so much. I mean, I recognize the budget, not only the budget constraints, but also the fact that at the end of the day, it still has to stick to that book because it's got a fan base. And so it's going to have to put those things in there and work with what it had. I think, if anything, it took the beginning and made so much more of it than they had to. And maybe it set your expectations so much higher. But I like the way it ended. I thought it ended in a more mature way where it didn't have to have that big explosive climax that you were. God, explosive climax, Jesus Christ.
Are you thinking about Emmy Rossum?
And now he's wishing his brother George was here.
But besides just being like mostly surprised and enjoying all the characters, yeah, it went out in a way that was very close to how it started. And I was like, wow, it really came full circle. And I enjoyed that, and saved the big set pieces for close to the end, but not quite there. I think there's no way you could be a fan of the book and come out and go like, wow, they didn't get it. Because that gave you much better probably than you deserved. And for me, not discounting what you guys have brought out as flaws, they just didn't bother me as much. It was a low full price.
Just go ahead and say, go fuck myself. That's what you
man,
you
Can that be our new rating?
Corey can go fuck him.
I don't know about this movie, but fuck Corey.
I think that's definitely our new rating.
Once again, quietly sitting in the corner.
Yeah, Brian, you want some of this?
No, I'm good.
Your time will come, Brian. Don't worry. No, I'm kind of right in between you guys on this one. Like, there were things that bugged me enough.
The gay jokes that you guys are setting up every time you open your mouth. Talk about how you're between them again.
When he kept talking about tickling the ivories, I didn't say anything. Okay?
Wishful thinking, isn't it, Cyrus? I do declare. Please.
But now you're Snagglepuss.
Can we stop this before the Oreo jokes begin, please?
Gay sex, three-way.
Oh, double stuff.
Green villain. Even.
God damn us.
I don't feel like I can say anything at this point that there wouldn't be a way it would be interpreted as a gay.
Well, let's try.
You can do it. Come on.
Hitler.
Gay Hitler.
That's all I can think of. I think that the relationship never 100% sold for me as much as even you're saying, Corey, you felt it worked a lot better than I thought it did. Mm-hmm. I think the strength here is just that really the guy actor, whatever the fuck his name is, Frankenstein or whatever, is pulling double the weight there. And he's fully capable of it. He does it with ease. He's so damn likable in this film. And all the other the adult actors in here have a lot of great lines. Jeremy Irons has a ton of terrific scenes. I mean, it's just those little set pieces that keep you going and flowing through this movie, even while the relationship never really becomes convincing until towards the end. The magic also is one of those things. At first, it's fascinating, really interesting world they're setting up, but then it's just so old, after all their talk, it's just more good and evil, black and white bullshit. Like, this is just, you try and make it sound like it's more complicated than that, but it really isn't. And that's just kind of dull after everything you set up. We'll give this movie a lot of points for turning young kids who watch it onto a lot of really great books that young kids should be reading, no matter what their local church or town center says, like Vonnegut and Bukowski. But like, I don't know, it's a heavily flawed, but pretty decent teen, like, romance drama. I liked it, didn't love it. I'm going to give it a matinee, but, with a I can totally see how a 15-year-old kid is going to walk out of this just going, I'm going to go buy all the books right now. But I'm not a 15-year-old kid. So there.
Are you sure?
But
no.
But the one locked in your basement, will you let him out to go buy these books?
Oh, hell no.
Oh, stop that. He doesn't do
He's
that.
He's got to tickle the ivories when I get in.
What do you mean tickle the iris?
He's at least 18 now. He's been in there for a while.
It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
I think first and foremost we got to applaud these witches for setting up shop in a part of the South where they might actually still burn witches. So that was very bold.
Hey, it's their town, okay? They were there first.
That's true. They were there first.
That's what they said. He built the town.
Oh, that's true. But yeah, I actually think the relationship works on more levels than just performance. I think it's one of those things where the script builds it into. I think the reason that it feels so anticlimactic is because this big showdown is not as interesting as the places that relationship goes. And that was what was really holding me throughout the whole movie, even when, you had this weird tornado showing up for no reason, and, they started breaking its own rules and not having a lot of, cohesiveness there. But I really enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it more based on how much I thought I was going to hate it. But overall, I think, like, this is intelligent youth supernatural romance. And for that alone, I'm like, okay, thank you very much. Strong film. I'd give it a matinee.
All right.
And there it is.
Well, I do declare that, Brian. That was a nice review.
Well, thank you,
Just
sir.
makes me want to give you a back rub now.
Oh, I'm getting the Vikings.
There's darkness in you. Don't you try and deny it. Accept it, sweetheart. Be with me. We can rule over a new world.